All right, I got to tell you, folks, I'm running out of patience with my own country here because I see literally 100 million Americans who won't do anything to preserve and protect and defend the littlest among us. A 5-year-old child stolen from our parents. And you see, it's not the fact that they're doing this. It's the fact that they think they have the right to do it. And since there's no pushback from citizens, they just go ahead and do it whenever they want. Did you hear the arrogance of that woman in the last segment? I mean, what part of abuse don't you folks get? For the record, and I've talked about this before, the guy who was in New Mexico this poor guy, he got pulled over in New Mexico, and the cops told him they thought he was clenching his buttocks, and so they took him to a hospital. The first hospital said, that's unethical. We're not going to do that. And so they said, okay. They loaded him in the police car and took him to another hospital. And here's what they did. They brought him into this hospital, and the first thing they did was x-ray him in his abdominal area. Now, they x-rayed him, and they said, well, apparently there's nothing there from the x-rays perspective. But that wasn't good enough. The next thing they did was they did a rectal exam with their fingers. This was a doctor who did this. No narcotics were found. Then they performed a second exam utilizing their fingers. No narcotics found. Then they used an enema, and they forced him to defecate in front of doctors and police officers, and then he had to watch as the doctors went through his stool. No narcotics found. Then they penetrated him with another enema because they weren't satisfied, and they made him go again. And this time he had to watch again while they went through his stool. Nothing found. Item 6, they went in and they used an enema for a third time. Again, he's forced to defecate in front of these doctors and police officers, and again, he's forced to watch them go through it. No narcotics found. Then they're not satisfied. They x-ray him again. Nope, nothing there. Then 8. That's not good enough. They prepare him for surgery. They sedate him, and they perform a colonoscopy with a scope with a camera. They insert it, and they go all the way up through his colon and his large intestine, and guess what? No narcotics found. Ladies and gentlemen, if that was your brother, your sister, your son, your mother, your wife, there wouldn't be a planet in the universe that these people could hide from you. What you have to recognize, America, is that the time is up and it is over for you to sit on the fence any longer. You can no longer sit on the side and say, this doesn't really matter. I mean, this is going to get it, it's going to sort itself out. It's not going to sort itself out. And here's the deal. You're either going to take action and you're going to do something about it, either openly or clandestinely or legally or some other method or manner, or I got to tell you, it's to the point where I feel like I'm wasting my time. I feel like I'm wasting my time. I feel like the average person who watches this, and I look at the total number of YouTube views, and it sickens me. Because I put myself on the line here talking about things that, I mean, I hear everybody who watches these things says, boy, I wish I could say that. I wish I had. Well, what do you think I'm doing? I get emails from people all the time. Aren't you afraid to do that? Yes, of course I'm afraid. Yes, I'm afraid my door will get kicked in. Yes, I'm afraid my wife or I will get pulled over on the side of the road and abused or charged or set up or whatever. That's the price. Why aren't you willing to take it? Why aren't you willing to take it. Ladies and gentlemen, we've allowed this to get so far out of control at this stage in the game that I cannot understand for the life of me. I mean, I understand fear. I get that. I understand not wanting to be a target and saying, well, I got a family to protect. So do I. I've been doing this for years. Apparently, it just doesn't make a difference. Apparently, there's not enough of you out there who care. There are some loyal folks who listen to this program every day. There are loyal people that log on or check this stuff all the time. There are people who I know in their own way they're doing what they can. But what I'm seeing here is, what, a few thousand people? And you've got a nation who just doesn't give a damn. I got to tell you, I'm getting to the point where I don't care about them. Because this is not something I do because I seek to aggrandize myself. I've got some kind of an ego thing. Trust me, I would love to never be in front of this camera again. It costs me money to do this program. I don't make any money at it. I don't sell a darn thing. But I got to tell you, folks, you know, either you're going to rally or you're going to have to rally yourselves, because I can't tolerate much more of this. And I don't understand why you're willing to. You know, you can sit there and you can watch Fox News and you can be faked out left and right all day long. You can sit there and watch CNN and you can be entertained by crap about Flight 370 endlessly with speculation about nonsensical drivel. You can sit there and watch your favorite little sitcom. But the truth of the matter is, while you're doing that, there are people who are actively plotting your demise. And you are oblivious to it. I mean, totally, completely oblivious to the fact that there are people actively out there attempting to terminate your existence if you choose to fight back. If you want to go along like a good little puppy and you're done and you do what you're told, is just with a mere rap on the nose with a newspaper, then they'll let you. But if you decide that you're going to push back, balk, fight, your life ain't worth a plug nickel. These people will figure out a way to get to you. And believe me, if they want you, there ain't nothing you can do to get away from it. But I'm telling you right now, if these people took my kid, I'd have that kid back. If I had to go live in the woods, I'd have that kid back. I'm telling you, this is insanity. And the fact that it's happening, and we're all helpless, allegedly, to solve it, is all the more reason for your clear and present ownership of weaponry. Because I'm telling you right now, every person in California, every citizen, period, end of argument, bar none, should be rallying around that office with weapons drawn, saying, you either send those kids out or don't try to leave the building. This is insanity. You steal a kid from parents based on a lie that you, as a person in a position of authority, have. And then you're going to penalize and persecute. I mean biblical persecution. We're going to get you persecution. Because he has the courage to record and videotape your people during the commission of your crime. Folks, I mean, what else is there to say? What else is there to say? Go watch it yourself. Don't take my word for this stuff. Go watch it yourself. But I got to tell you, I don't see how our country can continue to go on like this. You know, I don't call for violent action on anybody's part. I don't believe that that's the right solution. I believe in massive, peaceful civil disobedience. I've said it a zillion times. Every citizen should just say, we're done. That's it. No more worky. We're not going to go to work. You want to collect our taxes? Okay, good. We can't stop you from collecting the taxes. But what we can say is, none of us are going to go to work. I know our employer is going to be hurt by that. But you know what? We cannot participate as a community of citizens any longer. That's it. We're not going to buy gas. We're not going to buy food. We're not going to buy iPads. We're not going to buy furniture. We're done. Shut the country down. Meanwhile, you march on your state and your federal capitals and you say, either you send out the monsters, the Frankensteins inside there, and you turn them over to us so that we can dishonorably discharge them, or we're not leaving until you do. Those are the options. It's not open for debate. America, the alternative is you can sit around on your hands and wait until they come for you. And then there won't be anybody left to speak out on your behalf. Because you've sat around and said, well, I'm afraid I can't give up my job. I'll lose my house. I'll lose my car. They'll come and take it. You see, if every one of us got 20 people around us to commit, and they got 20 people around them to commit, it wouldn't be long before you would have a vast segment of the population that would say, you know what, we're all on strike. We're on strike, period. We're not going to work. We're not going to do any of your nonsense. We're not going to send you any taxes. We're not going to pay any taxes. We're not going to pay the school taxes. We're not going to pay property taxes. We're not paying personal property taxes. You're not going to get any sales tax because we're not buying anything. We're not paying federal taxes because we're not going to work, and therefore there's no tax revenue to send to you. And our employer's not going to have any tax revenue to send to you because when we stop working, well, he can't sell anything, so therefore there's a problem. The truth is, America, that is about, at this stage in the game, the only way that we're ever going to resolve this. If you think 2014 and taking the Senate back from Dirty Harry Reid is going to resolve the problem, when you look at the Republican Party and they are the same exact tyrannical monster, the same scars, the same bullet, the same electrodes in the neck as the last Frankenstein, what more do you want? What other proof do you have to have? Does it have to be your family member taken? Does it have to be your child stolen from you? Does it have to be your kid going to jail for a crime he didn't commit? Does it have to be your daughter murdered because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time and had the unmitigated gall to hold up a video camera and try to record a couple of cops beating the snot out of somebody else? I mean, is that what we've become? Because frankly, if that's the best that America has to offer, a bunch of us who sit around and look away because we're ashamed and afraid, then I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be here, and I don't want to know you. That's the truth. If that's the America we've got, if that's the best that we can muster, a bunch of scared sheep that suddenly find an interesting pebble to focus all of our attention on when some scumbag in authority speaks in a harsh tone. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a country worthy of the name America. This is not the United States of America. This is millions of cowards living together, unwilling to throw off their oppressors by peaceful means. Hello? I cannot express to you the level of frustration and the level of anger that I feel about how many Americans have done absolutely nothing to accomplish any level of task associated with trying to take this country and put it on a track and on a level that is commensurate with what we all grew up thinking we lived in. You didn't grow up thinking this was the America we were going to live in. You didn't grow up terrified of the police, breaking out in a sweat when you just see one pull up behind you. He don't even have to flip the lights anymore, ladies and gentlemen. All he's got to do is pull up behind you in traffic. And suddenly you're swerving. Not because you've had too much to drink, not because you just smoked a joint, because you're nervous. You're terrified. Is that a way to live? Is that a way to live? The cops won't police themselves. They don't care. They're all in on it. And those that aren't physically in on it are covering for those that are. These people in CPS use the police like their own personal mercenary army. Go get them kids. And the cops march off and say, okay, here we go. The courts, they play right along. I mean, what judge wouldn't look at this guy's record and say, clearly he didn't fail the drug test. He happened to have someone who lived in his house who was selling drugs miles away from the home. The person no longer lives there. Give him his kid! But no, that's not what they're doing. They're trying to figure out how to get CPS to have even greater custody of this kid. Meanwhile, all the guy does is videotape and audio tape the conversations he's having with these tyrants, and suddenly he's the bad guy. He's committed an illegal act. Illegal how? Why? Because he needs to expose crime? You see, I don't understand how anyone can sit here and justify the criminal activity on behalf of government by saying that because you've done something like videotape, that your crime exceeds their crime of kidnapping and your exposure of it. Hello, America, what's wrong with you? You know what? There's 7 minutes and 25 seconds left in this segment, and I don't even want to finish it. If you want to be a sheep that daily walks in for the shearing, you can do that. But I got to tell you, there's a class of us in this country, and many of you who are watching this right now, you know who you are. There's a class of us in this country that have had enough. There's a class of us in this country that are not going to sit here and watch tyranny being perpetrated on our nation forever and ever and ever. We're not going to watch innocent people be murdered. We're not going to watch a guy in Connecticut who's a recovering alcoholic have his gun seized by the Connecticut police, utilizing this law they've passed because they say he's depressed. He's depressed. That's a reason to go rob him of his Second Amendment, violate his First Amendment, Second, Fourth. New York has been for 20 years monitoring everybody's traffic. What part of this don't you get, folks? The DOJ says, we don't have a conflict of interest. We're investigating ourselves on the DOJ's Tea Party issue and the IRS. You got a choice. Right now, the choice is this. Massive, peaceful civil disobedience, and I mean on a stunning way. I'm talking about a national strike. Not a strike where you have to go and parade somewhere. The first things first, 2 weeks where nobody goes to work. 2 weeks. Shut the country down. Shut it down. When they know we're serious, then you show up in D.C. Then you show up in your state capital. And you say, here's the way this is going to work. You're either all relieved of duty, or we will forcibly remove you and we will lock you in prison. You are dishonorably discharged. You will never hold public office in any way, shape, or form again. Frankly, I would rather have that and the anarchy that ensues than continue down this path. Because at least then, and, you know, at least then, we have an opportunity to step up to the plate and protect and defend our country. But right now, the way we're going, we're just melting. We're like wax in a pot. We're just melting away. And I, for one, have had enough. So you can either participate and you can begin to take some action by yourself, solo, completely alone, with friends, with family, with others, or not. I mean, but here's the deal, folks. We're done. We're finished. We're done. This country is no longer a free country. It is no longer a republic. It is now a banana police state, and the tyrants are in charge. That's the truth. That's the long and the short of it. I can give you mountains of evidence that will prove the point. You don't even need me to. You know it's there. You've seen it yourself in many cases. And those of you that have not taken the time to go do the due diligence to resolve the problem, then that's your problem. You're guilty of failing to defend and protect the United States of America from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Whether you've taken an oath as a member of law enforcement or the military or not, you took an oath because you've been benefiting from the magnificent results of this republic, which you're allowing to disappear and be stolen from us. And not just us, but our children. If you think things are bad now, what are they going to be like in 10 years? I mean, we've gotten this way in what, 13, 15 years? If you think things are bad now, what are they going to be like in 5, 10, 20? What are they going to be like when your daughter, who's now 12, is graduating college, if she'll ever even get to college? I'm so angry with America. Not the nation. I expect tyrants to do what tyrants do. I'm angry with the civilian population for failing, for being bought off so dagnab cheap. For being bought off so cheaply, so shamelessly. It's disgusting. And I got to tell you, if that's the best that we can come up with, if this is the best that we can muster, if this is the best thing that we can put forward as a nation, then we deserve what we get. We deserve the enslavement, the imprisonment that is coming our way. It's already here. It's not coming. I keep hearing people say, we're gonna slip into We're there. It's done. It's done. It was done quietly in the middle of the night. There was no vote on it. It just did. It's already well underway. It's been going on for 25 years. Now it's just gotten to the point where you can't pretend it's not happening anymore. All right, I'm going to wrap this for the day because I can't take it anymore. But I got to tell you, America, the time for sitting idly on your hands and waiting for somebody to ride up on a white horse and save your sorry, sad carcass is over. There are no knights. There's only you. There is only you. You can email me directly if you'd like. Mike@americasvoicenow.org. But I got to tell you, unless you got something positive to say about today's topic, don't do anything at all. And I mean, you better have a plan of action. Otherwise, I'm just wasting my time. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.